Mr. Hackett. Thank you for being here today, and thank you very much. Declan, I'm intruding on your territory and on Marie's territory, but I've got to know County Offaly quite well and the Midlands. Very much enjoyed your really heartfelt speech this morning. I think you said it all in terms of the importance and vitality necessary. I never knew Pollagh, and when I went into, much to my chagrin, I went into the website, and there's 5, in Ireland, so I had to ring Aoife and said, which one do you want me to go to? So, but it's been an eye-opener, and sometimes in life you form instinctive feelings when you come to a place. And I must say, when I came here this morning and I saw the effort that went into the day, and then I met Eileen, and Eileen told me about the history of the area, going way back to the 1850s and the level of industrialization, and you referred to it as well, that how much of, not only is this the hidden gem or the hidden wetlands environment, but it's almost a hidden history as well of all of this that was going on, and is related to some degree in the history of Boardnamona and their boot Branda Green. But I mean, it's only when you come to a village like this and you hear stories about, well, our shop was closing, so we set up a community shop, which is going 3 or 4 years later. I mean, it's extraordinary. But also, you go out and you look at Turraun Bog, and you see what has been done by Offaly County Council, the walkway they've put in, the facilities, the car parking, the way you can access the bog without in any way hurting or impairing upon the environment. And I was coming back with, can't remember his name, we were having a talk, we were talking about footing turf and everything else. I think I related this before. When I was young in Roscommon, I used to go and visit my grandparents who were down in Castlereagh, and they had a bog, and they still have the Tubberee rights to it. So I get 2 bags of turf every year. But that whole experience as young people, the connectivity with rural people, and the resilience, the strength, the imagination, and the capacity. And one of the reasons when I was asked to take on just Transition Commissioner and Richard Britton, then Minister, and I said, Richard, I don't know much about climate change. He says, exactly. He says, we have too many expert opinions. It's nice to know somebody who doesn't know anything about it. But it was a question really of coming down into the region. Now, I was lucky in the sense that I got around the region quite often before COVID hit, and then tried to keep going through COVID with the Zoom, and Microsoft Teams, which is driving me and everybody demented at the moment. I just want to meet people and talk to people, engage with people, and the kind of affinity and questions you can ask by that kind of close quarter engagement. But over the last now 2 months, since we've relaxed the restrictions, I've been getting down more in the Midlands. I had a meeting last week with the Leos in the region. I had a great meeting on Friday with all the CEOs on the Zoom. I am further continuing with the major stakeholders. I'll be meeting the SB, Boardnamona, the unions again before December, when I have to put in a final report to the Minister. But also I was talking to Jane Seamus, don't know what you go by these days, but about an Irish Rural Link, because the level of network of community, because one of the things I didn't do before because I got cut off was meeting the community. So we're going to arrange that meeting to hear what Aoife and our colleagues, what their concerns are about pathways, accessing funds. I wish the Just Transition funding arrangements had been better. I had always believed they should have been located, and Anne-Marie had made her facilities available in the Midlands. I'm really strong about that the next tranche of funding, be it from Europe or be it from our own department or our own government, is solidly based in the Midlands for administration, for decision evaluation administration. I think you are the people who know best what needs to be done, what the pressures are on, where the impact could be made. And one of the great things about this project, but it's true about a number of projects we are funding through Just Transition, we've taken a whole of Midlands view of it. That our rivers, our canals, our bogs do not finish at county borders, that transect them. And that's why I extended it literally beyond the 4 key counties into the other counties, the peripheral part that's Tipperary involved, East Galway, East Roscommon, and into Kildare as well. I think that's important. One of the great things that has come out of that is the great cooperation under the Midland Regional Transition Team of the local authorities, particularly the 4 local authorities, that we're not in competition with one another for government funds. We're in cooperation to seek the biggest amount we can get for the widest impact. I think that's very important in approaching government funds or European funds. We have good standing in Europe for the work that has been done here, the START programme that assisted us. We have a good reputation. The peatlands are featuring now on all European websites around it, because up to then they were dealing largely with coal and mining communities in Poland or the Asturias or in Belgium or others. But the peatlands suddenly has come on, and the amount of work that's been done here. I agree fully, and it's something Anne-Marie has mentioned to me again last week, was getting a comprehensive plan from Bord na Móna around land use. I have enabled a number of startup companies to get access to Bord na Móna lands. They've been very helpful about it in giving them long leases or indeed buildings to assist them in developing startups. And apart from the community, and it comes to the point you made, Eamon, and Pippa has made also, we need to build good jobs in the community. And the best way of doing that is expanding existing enterprises in the region, of which there is considerable multiples of and very successful, but also creating startups in the green enterprise space, and that's what we're trying to encourage. And there's some really good, very developmental, imaginative, creative ideas around food import substitution and heat substitution. And I'm not going to get into wind energy or renewals. I saw the signs on the way in, so being a good politician, I'm going to avoid the controversy. I was at a meeting with some renewable energy group recently, and they said the problem, but I was asking about electricity. He says, Kieran, the problem is not about electricity. We haven't had a storm this year. I hope we have a storm soon to keep the energy preservation going. In terms of trying to get new companies into the area, I'm looking at a number of Irish companies have approached me. I've directed them both to the department, to the IDA, and Enterprise Ireland through the LEOs. But we do have really imaginative people in this country who are trying to create a second company in the Midlands, who are very much in the import substitution area. And that's vitally important, because I think, as I said in my first report, the idea of 25,000 people travelling to Dublin every day is not sustainable in our climate action policies. Anyway, they're not wanted in Dublin, and I don't mean that in a disrespectful fashion. As you know, most people in COVID has now decided probably there's greater productivity in having their employees working from home on a blended working arrangement. And that's why we're funding quite a number of enterprise hubs in the Just Transition programme, plus renewing some of the old warehousing buildings that have been a feature of the canal system that we had here, and keeping enterprise local, keeping people working. If they are working from remotely, give them enterprise business hubs to go to for 2 or 3 days a day, where they have great interconnectivity with broadband, and they can get out of the house. Whatever parental duties they have, they can do within a reasonable period. It saves on a lot. There's a lot of added value to that. So I think that's what we need to be doing about here. And of course, as we've seen through staycation, and Seamus referred to it, Eamon referred to it, and I think we all realise it, we rediscovered our country. We rediscovered our communities. We walked the length and breadth of what we had available to us, be it coastlines, be it mountains, be it greenways, canalways, cycleways. I think the bike industry did wonders during the period. I've heard of no bicycle shop closing, incidentally, more and more. I should have got into the coffee business and bought a little truck and put it somewhere, because the coffee business has boomed. But I think it proved to us that the rich diversity in our country, heritage, historically, the land we have and how we use that land, both uplands and lowlands, and the great work that has been done in the Midlands. I won't go through them all, but Lochborough is extraordinarily imaginative, and all the interconnectivity. But we have to create now a sense in the Midlands of how all these interconnect, that if you do staycation, you come down to Centre Parks, or you come down B&B or local hotels or whatever, that there's a sustainable tourist offering for them and a heritage offering for them. One of the more exciting ones was we're developing also the biodiversity within the monastic communities in the Midlands. And being Kieran, that's very important to me. My name being coming from Clonmacnoise. So that biodiversity that the monks actually developed. Monks were great farmers. And all of that they had created in sustaining life and culture and religion in the period. So what I'm hoping is, in my final report that I've been asked to complete, is to create a sense of what we did wrong, what we could do better, and what we could improve upon. I think that's very important. But the second thing is what initiatives we need to take among all the agencies that people refer to and government departments to create a single strategy by which we're not feeding off different pies. But how can we coordinate that between the community groups, the enterprise groups, and the local authorities, and the LEOs in the region, and that, so that we can maximise the potential from our own government in terms of assistance and aid and support. I don't like the word aid. I think it's building in communities for communities who are in Ireland and in their localities. But secondly, maximising the Just Transition Fund that's coming down the line and the territorial plan in Europe, which will impact massively, I will hope, financially on the Midlands, as it was the Midlands that gave birth to the whole idea of getting money from the Just Transition Fund. That will all materialise in 2022, and then the action plan that is coming down the line that will impact upon local authorities and all of us as citizens is what we're required to do our bit to save this planet and to give our children a future in their own country in a sustainable and life-preserving way. And it's been a pleasure for me to be here this morning. It really has. I've enjoyed going out in the bog. The walk was a bit long for somebody with a gammy leg, so I've an ideas for maybe a golf cart or two for people like me. Segways. I know they require an effort, but no, it's really this, and you know, you're in good stead, and you're really doing well here, and I'm very impressed by it, and I say that in a genuine fashion. And every success, and I will do with Pippa's help and others to ensure that we keep the momentum going. And well done, Aoife. It's excellent that you're helping all the other groups and giving them assistance and encouragement. One other cri de coeur I'll have, Minister, is that we need to relax the state aid rules. It's an impediment to enterprise development, and we're interpreting them too strictly for fear somebody in Germany might object. We don't have to worry about the British anymore, they can't object. The second thing is that trying to ask communities to raise the level of matching funding in a period in which there's been inactivity in communities or the efforts to fundraise, we need to be more creative and more trusting about that. I don't see the problem in giving them 100% funding on the basis that give us back the 15% over a period of time when they can fundraise in the normal way that they did. So we remove the impediments and create opportunities. Thank you very much. And Aoife, wasn't for Aoife arm twisting me. Every second day I'd get this phone call. I'd leave it for a day and I says, I'll do my best. But thank you, Aoife. And no, thank you for doing that. I've learned. Thank you.